हाँ, तो इस एक्सटेंशन को आई होप एवरीबॉडी हैज इंस्टॉल्ड इट ऑलरेडी। इंस्टॉल करने के बाद व्हेन यू गो टू द एचटीएमएल फाइल, तो अगर आपको यहाँ पर गो लाइव का ऑप्शन मिल रहा है नीचे तो वो क्लिक करो, नहीं तो जस्ट गो टू व्यू, गो टू कमांड पैलेट and then type live server, then open with live server. When you do that, automatically जैसा open हो जाएगा and let's put them side by side like this. Okay, so ये सब कुछ हमने किया था लास्ट क्लास में। तो अभी क्या करेंगे कि एक लिस्ट बनाएंगे, लिस्ट बनाने के बाद लिस्ट को हम स्टाइलिंग करेंगे। तो आई वांट यू गाइस टू टेल मी कि हम लोग एक लिस्ट कैसे बना सकते हैं। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल guys, tell me what are the different types of lists we have in HTML? Different types of list क्या है?
Order and unorder.
Okay. एक और लिस्ट भी है ना,
क्या?
जो मैंने बताया था लास्ट टाइम, डेफिनेशन लिस्ट। ओके, लेकिन डेफिनेशन लिस्ट उतना ज्यादा लाइक इंपॉर्टेंट या कॉमन नहीं है, तो इट्स फाइन। लेकिन यूएल और ओएल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो हम लोग उसके बारे में अभी बात करेंगे। सो लेट्स से कि वी हैव यूएल टैग like this, and inside that we have the li tag. Let's create two of them. We have bread and we also have milk. Okay, and last time मैंने बताया था कि जब आप लोग एक ul को like एक ul आप कंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे तो ये li जो भी होगा वो automatically it will have these disk types here. Okay, now if you want to style them, अगर आप चाहते हो कि ये डिस्क के अलावा कुछ और हो, we can do that. Okay, let's go here and let's target the ul target करने के बाद guys 1 second, हाँ, तो यहाँ पर क्या करेंगे, we'll add this thing called list style type. list style type में again you have all of these options, बहुत सारे options है, लेकिन we'll talk about the most commonly used options. Default है ये disk, which means when I जब मैं ये देख के मैं सेव करता हूँ तो nothing changes because ये default है. The next type we actually have this thing called circle. Okay, तो circle क्या हुआ देख लो यहाँ पर, ये एक hollow circle हो गया है, इसका मतलब है कि ये इसका जो वो fill नहीं हो रहा है, ठीक है, तो that is a circle type. Disk is a default type and circle is the one which does not have the filling inside of it. ठीक है, वो बिना filling के ये circle है. Next you also have this thing called square, which creates a square type for you here. Okay, and if you don't want any of that, अगर तुमको वो चाहिए ही नहीं, then you can just do the none here. ठीक है, none ऐसा हो गया है। तो ऑब्जर्व करो कि इसको बाय डिफॉल्ट थोड़ा से स्पेसिंग आ चुका है। जब भी आप लोग एक li क्रिएट करते हो, इन li आइटम्स को there is a margin given here, margin and padding, ठीक है। तो if you want to remove that, you can just do margin 0 and padding 0. अभी ये padding और margin क्या है, we'll learn about that next, ठीक है, we'll talk about that a little bit later. लेकिन अभी के लिए just remember that if you want to remove this, वो जो भी वो spacing था लेफ्ट साइड पे, अगर वो निकालना है तो ये दोनों हमको ऐड करना पड़ेगा बस। तो अभी see, like I said in the last class, okay, you don't have to remember all the properties because CSS में बहुत सारे properties है जो आपको याद रखना की जरूरत नहीं है. All you have to do is just go to MDN, which is Mozilla Developer Network. Like I spoke to you about this already. यहाँ पर जाके just go to like list style type, for example. यहाँ पर जाके just see what all properties are there. What all you have this thing called space counter and disk and circle and this. So you have so many things here which you can do. Okay. So अगर मैं if I cover every single thing, it will never end only, right? So I'm going to cover only the most essential, most important things. But you have to, after the class is done, you have to go back and go to these websites, go to these sections here and learn everything else from here. अगर कुछ आपको समझ में नहीं आया तो मुझे पूछना. लेकिन अगर क्लास के बाद आपको कुछ डाउट है तो इस वेबसाइट पे आके आप चेक कर लो, ठीक है? and somebody is not on mute. हाँ ठीक है. Now this was about the styling in list. ठीक है. Now what we'll do next is we're going to talk about one of the very important topics in CSS called the box model. ठीक है. Now for that let's go to Excalibur. बेसिकली आप जब भी एक वेबसाइट बनाते हो उस वेबसाइट में आप जो भी एलिमेंट्स डालते हो, be it a h1, be it a div, span, a paragraph tag, a UL, every single thing, it is basically it's basically considered to be inside a rectangular box. Okay, I'll tell you what I mean by that. If we go here, like for example, let me say कि I'll add one paragraph tag here, Aryan Khan, and then we'll also add a h1 here, Shahrukh Khan. Okay, let's just add these both. Now if I right click on this and if I do inspect, यहाँ पर जब मैं inspect करता हूँ, let me increase the font size. जब मैं inspect करता हूँ, just observe कि like element जो है वो एक rectangular box है, ठीक है? And if I inspect the h1 also, that is also a rectangular box, which means every single element inside your page is basically a rectangular box. Now if we go back to any other website, let's say we go back to maybe amazon.in, यहाँ पर again if we inspect any elements, let's inspect one more thing is, see ये जो दिख रहा है आपको, when you hover over it, it says you can select an element in the page to inspect it. You know, when you click on this and then when you hover over any one of this, you know, मैं इस पे hover कर रहा हूँ, इस पे hover कर, so let's say कि मैं इसे hover करके I'll hover over this. If you look at this, this is again a rectangular box. So every single thing inside the HTML page is basically contained inside a box. Every single element. अगर आप एक सर्कल भी बना रहे हो वो भी एक बॉक्स के अंदर ही रहेगा. Okay, bottom line is every element inside your HTML page is basically inside a rectangular box. Okay, so we're going to talk about this concept called CSX box model, जो मैंने बोला था कि every element is basically inside rectangular page. The way it looks is, let's say कि जो भी आपका जो कंटेंट है वो ऐसा होगा. दिस द मेन कंटेंट. आपका जो कंटेंट है वो इस पे होगा. दिस इज द कंटेंट बॉक्स, ठीक है. एंड जस्ट अबव दिस यू हैव द पैडिंग बॉक्स, ठीक है. तो ये जो भी आप देखिए जो भी आप देख रहे हो ना, लेट मी ऐड सम, विल दिस वर्क? नहीं, ये पूरा ले लिया इसने. हाँ, तो व्हाट एवर यू आर सीइंग हियर, दिस इज द पैडिंग. ओके, ये पैडिंग हुआ, ये भी पैडिंग हुआ, यहाँ पर भी पैडिंग रहेगा, यहाँ पर भी पैडिंग रहेगा. ओके, बट आई जस्ट रिमूव दिस फॉर नाउ, बट जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दैट ये पूरा जो है, जो भी ये कंटेंट के बाहर है उसे हम पैडिंग बोलते हैं, ठीक है. एंड जस्ट अबव दिस यू हैव द बॉर्डर. You have a different color for this. Let me add this. This is the border, and above this, ये border के बाद जो भी आएगा, that is the margin. This is the border, and this is the margin. Okay, this is nothing but the CSS box model, which means basically every element has all of these properties. Border यहाँ पर और margin यहाँ पर, ठीक है. Let's inspect an element and check how it looks. Like let's say कि हमारा, let's inspect this element. तो यहाँ पर if you go to elements ना, तो elements के नीचे if you go, एक मिनट, हाँ, तो यहाँ पर if you go down ना, this is the box model. This is the actual box योर एलिमेंट इज मेड अप ऑफ। जो भी यहाँ पर देख रहे हो आप ब्लू कलर पर, अभी लेफ्ट साइड पे देखो एक बार, अभी लेफ्ट साइड पे आपको जो ब्लू कलर का दिख रहा है ना, दैट इज द कंटेंट बॉक्स। जो एक्चुअल जो कंटेंट है, दैट इज द कंटेंट बॉक्स व्हिच यू सी राइट हियर, दिस इज द कंटेंट बॉक्स। नाउ जस्ट अबव द कंटेंट बॉक्स यू हैव पैडिंग। ये जो ग्रीन कलर दिख रहा है यहाँ पर आपको, वो पैडिंग है, लेकिन अभी बिकॉज द पैडिंग इज 0, the element has no padding at all. And just above that you have the border. बॉर्डर का जो भी है अभी वो भी 0 ही है, ठीक है, इसलिए हमको बॉर्डर नहीं दिख रहा है। लेकिन इफ यू गो अबव द बॉर्डर, दिस इज द मार्जिन। लेफ्ट साइड पे देखो वो ऑरेंज कलर का जो दिख रहा है, दैट इज द मार्जिन। मार्जिन का मतलब है कि जो स्पेस ये एलिमेंट के बाहर है, जो बॉर्डर के बाहर जो भी स्पेस है उसे हम मार्जिन कहते हैं, ठीक है। एंड दैट इज द मार्जिन राइट नाउ, व्हिच मींस दिस इज द कंटेंट, ये पैडिंग है, दिस इज बॉर्डर, दिस इज मार्जिन फॉर यू। अभी बॉर्डर और पैडिंग 0 है, इसलिए हमको लाइक वी डोंट सी दैट, लेकिन वी हैव कंटेंट एंड वी हैव मार्जिन एज वेल। अगर जस्ट फॉर एक्सपेरिमेंट, एक्सपेरिमेंट करने के लिए, if you want to see how the padding and the border can affect this, आप लोग यहीं पर आपको यहाँ पर जहाँ पर आपको डैश दिख रहा है ना, ये डैश पे जस्ट डबल क्लिक करो like this and just add some value. Let's add a value of 20 pixels. ठीक है, ठीक है। तो अभी look at the left side, आपको वो कंटेंट बॉक्स से ऊपर थोड़ा पैडिंग ऐड कर दिया हमने, लेकिन हमने सिर्फ ऊपर ऐड किया है, लेफ्ट राइट और बॉटम पे अभी भी पैडिंग 0 ही है। लेट्स से आई वांट टू ऐड सम लेफ्ट पैडिंग, यहां पर डबल क्लिक करके लेट्स ऐड अ पैडिंग ऑफ 10 पिक्सल्स, ठीक है। तो अभी इसका पैडिंग भी आ गया है। और सेम थिंग विद राइट साइड, अगर आप राइट साइड डबल क्लिक करके इफ यू लेट्स से इफ यू ऐड अ पैडिंग ऑफ 30 पिक्सल्स, वो भी हो गया है। And you can add the same padding to bottom as well. Let's add some padding of maybe 50 pixels. Padding हो गया है सब। Okay, now this is all the padding values. तो ये top है, bottom, left और right. Now same thing you can do for border as well. So border में let's try to add some border to the top. So let's say कि I want to add a border of 1. हाँ, तो ऐसा काम नहीं करेगा बॉर्डर, वी हैव टू एक्चुअली, ओके लेट्स से कि हम लोग डायरेक्टली यहाँ पर ऐड कर देंगे। लेट्स ऐड, हाँ तो यहाँ पर ऐड हो गया बॉर्डर टॉप विथ, देखो सो बॉर्डर का टॉप का विच जो 1 पिक्सल ऐड हुआ, लेट्स ऐड अ कलर आल्सो राइट नाउ। बॉर्डर कलर ऐड करेंगे, लेट्स कॉल इट रेड। ये काम क्यों नहीं कर रहा है? ओके, let's directly do this. Let's say border is equal to 1 pixel solid red. So this is the border, जो भी आप लोग यहाँ पर देख रहे हो, that is the border, ठीक है। Let's increase the border to let's make it some 20 pixel like this. This is the border अभी, ठीक है, which means अभी right now we have a border here. border के अंदर जो है we have the padding. ये ग्रीन कलर एरिया जो भी है दैट इज द पैडिंग, ये रेड कलर जो है दैट इज द बॉर्डर। मार्जिन जो है ये अभी ये दिस द मार्जिन, ठीक है। तो ऑरेंज कलर का जो भी है दैट इज द मार्जिन व्हिच इज अप्लाइड ऑन टॉप ऑफ द बॉर्डर, और वो रेड कलर जो भी है वो सब कुछ दैट इज द बॉर्डर, एंड पैडिंग जो भी है वो ग्रीन कलर का पैडिंग है, और ये है कंटेंट। दिस इज कॉल्ड द CSS का बॉक्स मॉडल। एंड रिमेंबर वन थिंग कि हम लोग ये कंटेंट जो है, हम इस कंटेंट को हम लोग वी कैन गिव अ हाइट एंड विड्थ एज वेल। हम इसका हाइट और विड्थ हम बढ़ा सकते हैं या फिर कम कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। दिस इज हाउ द बॉक्स मॉडल एक्चुअली वर्क्स। सो लेट्स जस्ट रिफ्रेश द पेज। मैंने लास्ट टाइम बताया था कि सी व्हेनेवर यू ऐड एनी स्टाइल्स इन द ब्राउजर हियर, दिस इज ओनली टेम्पररी, ठीक है, ये परमानेंटली सेव नहीं होगा। Somebody is not on mute, ठीक है। तो I was saying कि जब भी आप लोग कोई स्टाइल्स ऐड करते हो यहाँ पर ब्राउजर पे, It's on temporary, it doesn't get saved. So, okay. Okay, so I was saying ki, yeah, so this is the box model. Any questions here, guys, about box model? Okay, no questions. Okay. Now let's try to add all these styles in the VS Code यहाँ पर, ठीक है? So अभी के लिए तो let's target the paragraph tag, which is the P tag right here. Let's do a P, and the first thing we will do is we will give it a border. Okay. Border में क्या करेंगे कि if you go to this border property यहाँ पर, border जो है, it requires us to give it's so border जो property है ना, it's a combination of 3 different properties. एक है border style, एक है border color, और एक और है border width. ठीक है? So let's give them one by one. Let's first give it a border color, or let's give it a color of maybe indigo. Nothing appears abhi. Nothing appears because right now हमने सिर्फ border का color दिया है, लेकिन border है ही नहीं. So if we want to add some border, we have to also add the style and the width as well. Let's add the style, border style. Values are all of these. We have dashed, we have dotted, we have double, we have so many things, but we will go with this thing called solid because this is very commonly used. So solid is just one straight line, which we normally would want. So when you hit save again, when you go back here, we get this by default. Now, when we inspect this now, when you go down, you'll see that border ka width already add हो चुका है थोड़ा, and that is coming by default. ये हमने border width नहीं दिया है, लेकिन the border already has a width of 1.714 यहाँ पर, which is coming from the browser itself. लेकिन हम लोग change कर सकते हैं by doing border width and let's give it some 10 pixels. When we do this, we get a big border width. Let's inspect the element again, and if you go down, now we have a border width of 10 pixel on all the 4 sides. Okay. This is the shorthand. Now what if you want to give the border only to the top? मुझे नीचे right और left मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए, मुझे सिर्फ ऊपर का border width जो है वो मुझे 10 pixel चाहिए. That we can do very simply by doing border top width, and we can say 10 pixel. What happened now is we have added some border width only to the top of the element, like in left, right, or niche, it's all the same. जो भी पहले था वही है. But if you want to remove the border from all the sides, but only keep it at the very top, then first we can just do border width को हम 0 कर देते हैं, and उसके बाद ये border top width देते हैं. Okay. What happens in this case is, after this line, we are removing all the border on the element, but after this line, we are adding only the top ka border width. Okay. Now let's say what are the other types of styles. We can also add this thing called dashed. Dash ka matlab hai ye, and you can also add dotted yahan par, like this. So calc is not really a style for border style, Rajinder, but we'll talk about that like in the next class, because the calc is a different thing altogether. It's not related to border style. Okay, you can use calc for many other things. It's not a specific thing for border style. ठीक है. Now this is what the border top with is. Now what if you want to give all the border styles in only one line? You can do that by doing border बोल के. You can specify आपको कितना border width चाहिए on all the four sides. Let's say कि मुझे एलिमेंट के चारों तरफ मुझे 5 पिक्सल चाहिए. And then you mention the border style, which is, do you want a solid, or do you want dotted, or do you want dash? Let's say I want solid. And then at the very end you also mention the color of the border on all the four sides. Let's say I want to add a color of green on all the four sides. Now when I remove all of this and if I keep only this, I get this border right here. Remember that, you know, when you add just one property called border, it is a combination of all these three properties. Okay, border width on all the four sides, border style on all the four sides, and border color on all the four sides. अभी ये जब भी आप लोग border property use करेंगे, you cannot give the styles only one part of the element. It has to be given for all the parts, which is आप लोग एक ही लाइन पे टॉप, बॉटम, लेफ्ट और राइट का बॉर्डर स्टाइल्स देंगे. ठीक है, that is all you need to know about the border. Now next let's talk about the padding. Border के अंदर will be adding some padding. And let's say कि I want to add a padding left value, like मुझे padding left पे चाहिए. I want some 10 pixel. Observe यहाँ पर we have no gap right now. Observe कि ये जो border है और जो content है, यहाँ पर left side पे कुछ gap है ही नहीं. लेकिन if I want to add some gap left side पे, border के अंदर और content के बाजू में, I do then when I hit save, see I get some space here left side because I'm saying padding left. So left side पे मुझे padding चाहिए. Okay, let's say मुझे थोड़ा ऊपर भी चाहिए. मुझे यहाँ पर I want some 15 pixel of padding. I can do that by saying padding top of 15 pixels. So I have 15 pixels का padding top ना भी. Let's say कि मुझे bottom पे I want some padding of 20 pixels. So I do padding bottom of 20 pixels, and same way I can also do padding right of 10 pixels. Okay, now when I inspect the element, so जब मैं inspect करता हूँ element को, then if you go down under styles, under elements, under styles, you just go down and you see the actual content. ये जो है उसके बाहर you have padding top of 15, padding left and right of 10, 10, and padding bottom of 20. And on top of that you have a margin of 5. Sorry, border of 5 pixels. Okay, लेकिन if you observe, मैंने इस पैराग्राफ को कुछ मार्जिन नहीं दिया है, लेकिन फिर भी it has some default margin on the top and at the bottom. Okay, which is, where is it coming from? मैंने तो styles add नहीं किया यहाँ पर. Okay, if you look at this, there is no, like, I've not added any padding. I've not added any styles on the margin. लेकिन फिर भी, why is the paragraph tag having margin top and margin bottom? Guys, what do you think is the answer? वो कहाँ से आ रहा है वो margin top and margin bottom?
Because it is block level element.
हाँ, तो block level element को क्यों आएगा? by default कहाँ से आ रहा है? अगर मैंने नहीं दिया है तो वो स्टाइल इस एलिमेंट को किसने दिया है, इसमें क्वेश्चन. हाँ, setting get you, sorry.
ये ब्राउजर ने बाय डिफॉल्ट सेट किया.
हाँ, करेक्ट, वेरी गुड. सो अगर आप लोग यहाँ पर देखते हो, we have this thing called user agent. ठीक है, तो यूजर एजेंट का मतलब मैंने लास्ट टाइम बताया था लास्ट क्लास में कि अगर आप एक वेबसाइट एक आपका लैपटॉप के ब्राउजर में, लेट्स से इन दिस केस आई एम ओपनिंग दिस वेबसाइट इन द क्रोम ब्राउजर ना, जो भी ब्राउजर के अंदर आप एक वेबसाइट ओपन करते हो, दैट ब्राउजर इज द यूजर एजेंट। तो अगर आप लोग एक वेबसाइट को आपके फोन के अंदर जो ब्राउजर है, आप अगर उसमें ओपन करते हो, so that becomes user agent. Okay, so user agent is the software which is currently running your website. जो भी वेबसाइट आप बनाते हो, ठीक है, whatever you add, whatever you run your website on, that is a user agent. ठीक है, तो नेक्स्ट थिंग इज इफ यू सी हियर कि ऑल ऑफ दीज स्टाइल्स मैंने कभी नहीं दिया है, लेकिन इस ब्राउजर ने, विच मीन्स यूजर एजेंट ने, ये स्टार स्टाइल्स दे चुके हैं। एंड दैट इज व्हाई एवरी पैराग्राफ एलिमेंट it has a top and a bottom margin of 16 pixels by default. ठीक है, तो वो डिफॉल्ट में हर एक पैराग्राफ टैग को ब्राउजर ही थोड़ा मार्जिन टॉप एंड बॉटम दे देता है, बट वी कैन रिमूव इट इफ यू वांट टू। बट बिफोर दैट लेट्स कंटिन्यू टॉकिंग द पैडिंग थिंग। तो ये अभी हमने पैडिंग लेफ्ट टॉप बॉटम में दिया है, बट वी कैन ऑल्सो like reduce this into one line, which is the padding thing. अभी padding को हम लोग दो तरह से हम लोग लिख सकते हैं यहाँ पर। फर्स्ट थिंग इज लेट्स से कि अगर मैं चाहता हूं कि मुझे लेट्स से कि मुझे टॉप मुझे दिस शुड बी माय टॉप का पैडिंग एंड दिस शुड बी माय बॉटम का पैडिंग, top or bottom. And let's say we have top of 10 and bottom of 20, and left or right जो है मुझे 5 पिक्सल चाहिए। ओके, इफ दिस इज माय कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, अगर मैं ये चाहता हूं कि मेरा जो टॉप का पैडिंग है वो 10 पिक्सल हो, बॉटम का पैडिंग है जो वो 20 पिक्सल हो, और लेफ्ट और राइट का पैडिंग सिर्फ 5 पिक्सल होना चाहिए। If that is the case, we can use a shorthand here. We can give 3 different values. The first value will be the top ka value, which is 10 pixels. The second value will be the value for left and right at the same time. In this case, because we want the same padding to left and right of the paragraph tag, let's just add the 5 pixel यहाँ पर, and at the very end you add a bottom यहाँ पर which is 20 pixel. Okay, when you do this, what this means is ये 10 pixel जो है वो ऊपर का पैडिंग है, और 5 pixel जो है वो लेफ्ट और राइट का पैडिंग है, और 20 pixel जो है वो नीचे का पैडिंग है। Let's inspect the element again. If you go down, we see ये 10 पिक्सल ऊपर का पैडिंग है, लेफ्ट और राइट का पैडिंग है 5 पिक्सल, और बॉटम का पैडिंग है 20 पिक्सल। ओके, दिस इज द शॉर्टकट। देयर इज वन मोर शॉर्टकट आल्सो। लेट्स से कि ऊपर और नीचे का पैडिंग आर द सेम एंड लेफ्ट और राइट का पैडिंग भी सेम है। लेट्स से कि मुझे ऊपर और नीचे का पैडिंग जो है वो 20 पिक्सल चाहिए, सो आई विल मेक इट 20 पिक्सल हियर, एंड लेट्स से कि मेरा लेफ्ट और राइट का जो पैडिंग है दैट इज द 10 पिक्सल, मेक इट 10 पिक्सल हियर। व्हेन आई हिट सेव, लेट्स इंस्पेक्ट द एलिमेंट अगेन। You have 20 at top and bottom, you have 10 at left and right. Okay, that is one more shortcut. One last shortcut of padding is अगर तुम लोग सिर्फ एक ही वैल्यू देते हो like this, if you're giving only one value, this will be applied for all the 4 sides. ठीक है, so 20 20 20 and 20. okay, now let's revise again. जब आप लोग ये पैडिंग देते हो and if you give only one value, that will be applied for all the four sides. इसका मतलब है टॉप, लेफ्ट, राइट और बॉटम का वैल्यू एक ही है. लेकिन if you give two values here like this means this will be applied for top and bottom and 10 pixel will be applied for left and right. ठीक है, तो 20 पिक्सल जो है वो टॉप और बॉटम का है और 10 पिक्सल जो है वो लेफ्ट एंड राइट का है. If we inspect this, we have 20 20 at top and bottom and 10 10 at left and right. Okay, this is the second shortcut. Now third shortcut is if you do something like this. What does this mean? ये जो है ये टॉप का है, ये बॉटम का है, ये लेफ्ट एंड राइट का है. ठीक है. Now one last shortcut again which I forgot to mention here is if you add one more, let's say maybe 30 pixels. What this means is it is like clockwise. This is top and this is right, this is bottom, this is left. बस. Now I know it's very confusing, तो इसलिए मैं कहता हूं कि you don't have to revise, I mean memorize all this. You have all the answers in your MDN. Just go here and just type your padding property and you will get all your answers here. Rajinder, we can use percentages, but we will get to the units part later. So a separate like section mein I'll talk about all different units, like what are pixels, what are ems and rems, what are percentages, what are viewport width and height. We'll talk about all of those things in the next class. Lekin abhi ke liye just, we'll just go with pixel for now. Okay, so any questions about the padding, guys?
Hello.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, who's this?
Sir,
Pranjal.
if we want to put some same top and bottom value and different left and right value, then what will be the code?
Yes, we did that already. So you want same value for top and bottom, kya?
Bottom.
So we can say 20 pixel will be top and bottom. And you want different value from left and right, kya?
Yes.
So different value matlab, so let's say, okay, right, so 20 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel, this is top, ये bottom हो गया और ये 10 pixel हो गया. Let's say कि this will be top, right, bottom and left. So first of all, this will work. ठीक है? This is for top,
okay,
this is right, this is bottom, this is left. I'm just trying to think if there's any other way. So iske alawa, can you do 20? So top and bottom you want the same and left and right must be different. Top and bottom you want the same, left and right to be different. So uske liye we don't have a shortcut, unfortunately, because if we have something like this will be top and this will be left and right and this will be bottom. Yeah, so we do not have a shortcut for this one, what you asked, Pranjal, but we have to go with this only. Ye top hai. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Who's drawing on my screen? Yeah, who's drawing?
Sorry sir, by mistake हो गया था.
No problem, ठीक है. Okay, मैंने cancel कर दिया है. ठीक है. Yeah, so this was all about padding. Now the last thing we have is, see, we covered the border till now and we covered padding. Let's cover the margin. Margin and padding are pretty much the same when it comes to the syntax. Like exactly same ही होगा. Let's add margin now. If you say again, you can say margin left of 10 pixel. Abhi observe karo. See, I'll zoom in एक मिनट, मैसेज आया था, हाँ ठीक है। Now I'll zoom in here. आप एक बात ऑब्जर्व करो अभी यहाँ पर, जब मैं मार्जिन लेफ्ट को लेट्स से कि आई मेक इट सम 40 पिक्सल्स, बॉर्डर के बाहर जो होगा उस पे अप्लाई होगा। मैंने हिट सेव से यहाँ पर अप्लाई हो गया है, ठीक है। विच मीन्स बिकॉज मार्जिन जो भी है ना, मार्जिन और बॉर्डर के ऊपर होगा, ठीक है। तो दिस वाज द बॉर्डर, इसके लेफ्ट पे जो भी दैट इज द मार्जिन। ओके, लेट्स ऐड सम मार्जिन टॉप अभी, मार्जिन टॉप ऑफ 20 पिक्सल्स, आई मीन हिट सेव, नीचे आ गया थोड़ा। एंड इफ यू हैव सम मार्जिन बॉटम ऑफ लेट्स से 30 पिक्सल्स, यहाँ पर ऑब्जर्व करो, आई हिट सेव, ऊपर हो गया था। सो वी कैन ऐड मार्जिन लेफ्ट राइट एज वेल। This is very similar to what we saw for padding. Now, if I inspect this element again, we have margin 20, 40, and 30 and 10 here. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. अगर आप लोग सारे मार्जिन के वैल्यूज जो है वो सिर्फ एक ही प्रॉपर्टी में डालना चाहते हो, you can do this margin property again. Margin, if you say ऊपर का 20 पिक्सल, राइट का 10 पिक्सल, और नीचे का 30 पिक्सल, और लेफ्ट साइड का 5 पिक्सल, बस हो गया। इफ यू वांट टू ऐड 20 पिक्सल लाइक दिस, व्हाट दिस मींस इज ये ऊपर का होगा, ये नीचे का होगा, लेफ्ट और राइट ये होगा। इफ यू जस्ट रिमूव दिस, ये ऊपर और नीचे का होगा, लेफ्ट और राइट का होगा। एंड इफ यू रिमूव ऑल ऑफ दिस, this will appear on all the 4 sides. So 20, 20, 20, and 20. Okay. If you have only one value, that will be applied on all the 4 sides. This was about the margin. I'll just drink water, guys. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay, so that was about the margin and border and padding. Okay, these 3 are the important points that we consider for this thing. Now the other thing which we didn't talk about till now is we can also add a height and width to the content. So जो भी content है ये blue color का, if we want to increase the height and width of this, we can do that. We can target the paragraph tag and give a height, and let's make it 100 pixel of height. जब मैं करता हूं तो इसका height अभी बढ़ गया है. Okay, we can also add a width now. By default जो भी paragraph element होगा वो इसका container element जो है उसका पूरा width लेगा. What I mean by that is, if you observe this here, see, a paragraph element जो है उस body के अंदर छुपा है, which means जो भी body का जो width है वो 100% लेगा by default paragraph tag. ठीक है, because a block level element जो है it takes up 100% width of the containing element. In this case, this paragraph element it takes up the entire width of the body. ठीक है, if you consider that let's say width जो है वो 100% by default होगा, लेकिन we can change it to, let's say we can make it only 50%. This time the width has reduced. ठीक है, तो अभी इतना ही है. पहले the width was entire, लेकिन अभी the width is only this much. ठीक है, that is what the width and height will do. Now let's talk about something else now. Okay, now I'll just remove the paragraph tag. Let's play with the h1. Let's say कि मैं इस h1 में target करके I'll give it a color of red. ठीक है, so it gets a color of red here. ये save क्यों नहीं हो रहा? हाँ, इसका color red हो गया, right? Now if I make the color, see, if I select the same element again and if I give it a color of yellow, अभी मैंने save नहीं किया है, लेकिन जब मैं save करता हूँ guys, what do you think will be the answer? Will this be red or will this be yellow?
Yellow.
Why is it yellow?
Because it's changing the value.
हाँ, the way it works ना यहाँ पर, so see, we call the CSS as cascading, right? Cascading का मतलब है कि ऊपर से नीचे जाएगा. What that means is, आप अगर exactly वही element को आप दोबारा आप select करके वही value अगर आप देंगे, whatever value you're giving here ना, that will be added here. If I target the same element again, and if I give a color of, let's say, light salmon, that will be the color, because it's a cascading style sheet. Okay, what we mean by that is, ऊपर से नीचे जाएगा पूरा CSS का फाइल जो ऊपर से नीचे जाएगा, और if you're targeting the same exact element and वही property को हम दूसरे value देंगे, that will be picked up always. ठीक है, that is a default rule. Now let's say कि यहाँ पर I'm going to add a style sheet यहाँ पर. If you guys remember, we can add a style tag here, right? We can add a style tag here. I'll add a h1 here and give it a color of, let's say, blue. When I hit save, we see blue color here. Because what is happening here, guys, is जब ये HTML page render होगा ना, we start from the very top, which means we read this line, then we read this line, and then we keep reading every single line. And when we come across this line here, we go inside the style sheet, which is this file here. We go inside this one and we add this, and then we add this, and then we add this, which means अभी तो ये फाइल एग्जीक्यूट होने के बाद h1 जो है उसका कलर होगा लाइट सैल्मन. लेकिन ये एग्जीक्यूट होने के बाद वी हैव वन मोर स्टाइल टैग हियर, राइट, व्हिच मींस ये स्टाइल जो है लाइट सैल्मन जो है उसको ये ओवरराइड कर देगा, एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी सी द h1 हियर. So if we add one more h1 here, let's say, and we add a color of, let's say, this crimson, this will be added. Okay, which means जो embedded style sheets है that will win in this case, because ये add करने के बाद we are coming here, this will win. Now next let's say कि अगर मैं style यहाँ पर directly देता हूँ, like style, and I'll give it a color of क्या color they will go with dark olive green. See, then this color gets applied, because ये apply होने के बाद we are adding this color, and because this is the closest color to the HTML, to the h1, we add this color ultimately. Okay, which means no matter how many styles you add in your CSS ka file, and no matter how many styles you add into the style tag, ultimately यही जीतेगा. ठीक है, this is all about the conflicts, जो भी conflicts है हमको, we have discussed about that. Okay, now next we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. It's called CSS का specificity, and this will be the last topic we're going to talk about today. ठीक है, now see, we have seen the different types of selectors, right? तो हमने अभी तक different types of selectors को देते हैं, which means that अगर एक element है तो how many ways can you select an element? Okay, we have type selectors, type or element selectors. Okay, what is the example of this? Let me remove all of this first because we don't need this anymore. Let's remove this color as well. So what are the type or element selector, guys? We just do, we target it like this, this is a type selector or element selector. Okay, next is we have the class selectors, and what we mean by this is we can, let's say we add a class here and we add 1, and if we select .1, this is a class selector. Okay, this is an element or type selector, and this is a class selector. And whenever you have a class like this, you always add a dot in front of it. तो अगर आप dot डालते हैं, then the browser understands that this is a class name. Okay, next you have ID selector, right? तो अगर हम लोग एक ID देंगे इसको, like let's say ID will be maybe 2, and we can target it by doing hash and 2. Give a color of, let's say, light sky blue. Okay, this is a type or element selector, and this is a class selector, and this is an ID selector. This is an ID selector. Okay, these three are the main types of selectors, which we already discussed, and we also saw how to add the inline style. So if you add a style here, if you add a color of whatever you want, let's say color will be dark orange. Okay, we basically have these 4 kinds of selectors mainly. So inline styles. Now what we are trying to do is, what if we select the same element but using different kinds of selectors? In that case, which style will ultimately be applied? That is the question here. Okay, if we have one element and उस एक element को हम लोग with all these different types of selectors, we are targeting it and we're giving it a different value. The question is, which value will ultimately win? Okay, now the default rule is, guys, the default rule is, जब भी आप लोग इस style, एक inline style देते हो, that will always win. Doesn't matter आप लोग ID use करते हो या class या type, the style property will always win. Guys, 1 second, just hold on 1 second. I'm back, guys. My dad has just come. Okay, anyway, so I was saying कि yeah, so अगर जब भी आप एक inline style देते हो एक element को, then this will win over everything else. इसका मतलब है कि अगर आप एक style देते हो यहाँ पर, that will always be applied. आप चाहे आप कितने भी styles, आप चाहे आप classes कितने भी use करो, आप IDs भी use करो और elements भी use करो, doesn't matter, ये style हमेशा जीतेगा. ठीक है, लेकिन because we don't use this very often, एक जब आप एक रियल कंपनी में काम करोगे या फिर आप अपना खुद का वेबसाइट बनाओगे, आप लोग ये कभी यूज नहीं करेंगे. ठीक है, that's let's just ignore this, इग्नोर करते हैं अभी के लिए. ठीक है, and let's remove this from here. Let's try to understand these three. Before we get into this, अभी एक और बात बोलना है मुझे, okay? तो ID जो है ना, ID का वैल्यू जो होगा, that will always be unique. ठीक है, that we already discussed, right? See, I can create multiple H1 elements. I can have the same class for every element, लेकिन ID cannot be the same. ID should be different. 2, 3, 4 or 5. Shahrukh Khan, Hrithik Roshan, Salman Khan or Amir Khan, let's say. Okay, we have this 4 things here. So ID has to always be unique. ID cannot be the same for 2 different elements, but the class can be the same for multiple elements. Okay, that is the first rule. अभी दूसरा बात ये है कि we can have multiple classes for a single element, which means you can add like one more thing, let's say box, and we can have one more thing, let's say circle. We can add one more thing, let's say whatever, Bollywood, like whatever you want. Okay, you can add multiple classes, but they have to be separated by the space here. Okay, well, let's just do one. Let's remove all of this and let's just look at this for now. Let's say React. Okay, let's say 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, we can add however many classes you want. तो एक एलिमेंट को आप मल्टीपल क्लासेस दे सकते हो. Okay, but why will it be useful? We'll look into that, but before looking, let's just see how we can target them. ठीक है, let's say कि पहली बात ये है कि let's target using 1. Let's say कि we'll go here and we will say .1. The color will be red. Red आ गया. लेकिन when we have multiple classes like this, you can also attach more classes on top of this, which means you can do .1 के बाद you can do .2. This will still mean the same. अभी .1 और .2 का मतलब क्या है? We are targeting an element which has both 1 and 2 as the class names. Okay, this is what that means. अगर आप लोग .1 के बाद .2 लिख रहे हो, it just means there is an element which has a class of 1 and 2. See this, I just hovered over this and VS Code is giving me some help here. Okay, मुझे बता रहा है कि एक एलिमेंट है जिसमें we are using the class called 1 and 2, but we can add, let's add these two things as well. We can add .3 and .4 as well. Okay, so what this means is there is an element which has the classes 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, just remember this is very important. You can add multiple classes like this. Okay, one more thing is इसमें कुछ, हाँ, so let's say कि you want to target an element using both the class as well as the ID. We can do it like this. .1 class का name है 2, so do #2 like this. ठीक है, what this means is if you hover over this again, see it says the element which has a class of 1 and ID of 2. I mean, why do we do this? That we'll learn next, but just remember that we can do this. Okay, this is possible to do. You are basically targeting an element which has both a class as well as an ID. That is what this means. Here's 1 second. Okay, so this is one more way. So next what we'll do is okay, so let's say कि there is a div and इसमें एक paragraph tag है which is inside a div, and we have one more thing, one more paragraph here which is outside a div. Now if I want to style all the paragraph tags, I have to do this and give it a color of red. Like, in what I want to do is I want to style only that paragraph tag which exists inside of a div, which means I don't want to style this paragraph, I want to style only this paragraph. Okay, this brings us to the topic of combinators. So MDN, if you go to combinators, also it's a pretty big topic. We'll talk about this now. So when you have to combine multiple selectors, okay, that is we call that as a combinator. Okay, the first kind of combinator is a descendant combinator. Okay, what this means is, let's say, okay, if I want to select a paragraph element which is inside another element, okay, we can do like this. div के अंदर जो paragraph tag है उसको target करो. So I'll add this a color of red. This time we have styled only this paragraph tag, because what this is telling is div के अंदर जो भी paragraph tag है उसको style करो. Now it doesn't matter वो कितना अंदर है. Let's say कि एक और div है यहाँ पर. Let me add this div inside like this. See, यहाँ पर एक div है, उस div के अंदर ये paragraph tag है. Okay, it's not a direct child, it is a descendant. Now what is a descendant? What is the meaning of descendant is, let's say कि we have a person and this person has given birth to two children. This person has two children and this person has only one child. This person has two children. Okay, let's say it's like this. Let me just add the arrows very quickly, like this. And this person has two children and this person has two children. क्या हुआ? Like this and like this. Now if you observe this one, this is the outermost, like the main parent, the root element, and all of these are the descendants of this element. Okay, descendant का मतलब है ये सारे जो भी है, all of these are the descendants of this element. Now if you look at this guy, तो इसके descendants कौन है? All of these people. And इसका descendant कौन है? ये है. और इसका कोई भी नहीं है, लेकिन इसका descendant ये दोनों है. ठीक है? That is a meaning of descendant. Okay, that's a very it's a common English word. Basically you can say that आप लोग आपके parents के और आपके grandparents के और आपके great grandparents के आप लोग descendants है. Okay, लेकिन the opposite is not true. Like ये इसका descendant नहीं है. This guy is a descendant of this guy. Okay, so if you look at this guy, ये सारे लोग इसके descendants है. That is what this means. Now if you look at this, div के अंदर जो paragraph है, we're targeting that. So let's say कि I create one more thing called, I create one more thing like this. There is a section, and section के अंदर there is a main के अंदर there is a div, and div के अंदर एक span है, और span के अंदर एक paragraph tag है. Let's say I am very inside, like this. So if I want to target this paragraph tag now, using the descendant selector I can do like कि section के अंदर जो main है उसके अंदर जो div है उसके अंदर span like that we can do like this. section के अंदर main है, main के अंदर एक div है, उसके अंदर एक span है, उसके अंदर एक paragraph tag है. Let's add a color of light sky blue. Get this color. Okay, what this means is this just means that we have a section और इसका descendant main है, उसका descendant div है, उसका descendant span है, उसका descendant p है. Just remember that they don't have to be direct children. Okay, direct children होने का कुछ rule नहीं है. ठीक है, like let's say कि अगर मैं इस section के अंदर मैं एक article create करता हूँ, let's say like this article, और पूरा जो है I've wrapped it with an article like this. तो अभी if you see observe something, इस section के अंदर जो main जो है वो direct child नहीं है, but still this will work because I am saying that a section का descendant main होना चाहिए. It means a section के अंदर जो भी main है, main के अंदर जो भी div है, div के अंदर जो भी span है और span के अंदर जो भी paragraph tag है उसको ये color दे दो. That's what this means. Is this clear, guys?
If you mention section and direct P.
We definitely can.
Because the
Just
section
remove
is
this.
the root element, right?
We can. Yeah, that will work. That will work. That will definitely work.
Okay.
This will work, and we can even do main के अंदर जो p है वो भी काम करेगा. Div के अंदर p वो भी काम करेगा. This will also work. Okay, but the reason why we have different ways that will come into picture when we start talking about a topic called CSS का specificity. CSS specificity. When we talk about this now, then you'll understand why there are different ways you can target the same element. उसका importance क्या है? Then you'll understand it then. But we can just remember that we can target the same element in different ways. Okay, this was a descendant combinator. Next we will talk about a child combinator. Okay, what if I want to target the paragraph tag which is directly a direct child of some other element? Like let's say कि अगर मैं चाहता हूँ, okay, let's say कि ये I'll simplify this actually. I'll just remove all of this. Okay, see, we have a section and then we have a span and a paragraph tag. Now I'll create one more section here. Section के अंदर भी have paragraph tag here. I am a direct child. I am a descendant. Okay, see, both are different. Okay, both are different now. Now what we'll do is I'll just remove, so I'll add section here. See, when I do this now, both will get the same color. Lekin what I want is, जो भी paragraph element इस section का direct child है, which is this one, इसको मैं दूसरा color देना चाहता हूँ. And for that I have to do a section का direct child जो है, this means that whichever paragraph tag is a direct child of the section tag, that is the उसको select करो. Let's give it a color of, let's say, lime green, and this gets a color. Okay, this is the descendant combinator and this is the child combinator. Okay, we are basically saying कि जो भी paragraph tag है जो direct इसका child है, if you observe this paragraph tag is not a direct child of this section because it is present inside a span. Okay, which means this is a descendant of section. If we go back to this example, see, this guy has all of these as descendants, but only these both are the children of this guy. If you look at this guy has only one child, which is this, and if you look at this child, this guy has all of these as descendants, but only these both are the children. And lastly, if you look at this guy has only two children. Okay? And if you look at this again, so we have a section inside of which we have a direct child. Okay, this is a child combinator. Now next, let's look at the adjacent sibling combinator. ये क्या है? Okay. Let's say कि I want to, okay, let's say कि we have a H1. I am first. Let's say we have paragraph tag I am adjacent. And I get one more, I am just after adjacent. If I want to target a paragraph element which is just adjacent to some other element, no, adjacent का मतलब है जो बिल्कुल इसके बाद आ रहा है, just after the element, ठीक है? तो उस एक एलिमेंट को अगर आप सेल करना चाहते हो, then we can use the adjacent sibling combinator, which is like this, H1 plus P. Okay, and if you add a color of, let's say, key red, only this gets red. Now, even though both of these are paragraph tags, we have selected or targeted only this one because we are saying कि जो paragraph tag immediately जो H1 के बाद आ रहा है, okay, not this. This is the paragraph tag because this is coming just immediately after H1. तो H1 के just H1 के बाद यहाँ पर आ रहा है, so we are selecting this one, and we target this by adding a color. This is the adjacent sibling combinator. Okay. Next, we have general sibling combinator. What this means is, let's say I want to select all the paragraph tags that come after H1, but which are the siblings. See, this is also a sibling, not a descendant. If you look at this, these both are siblings because both of them have a common parent. These both are siblings because they have a common parent. These both are siblings again because they have a common parent. Okay, so this plus means कि the paragraph tag which is an adjacent sibling of H1, which means it's coming right after H1. Okay, so if you want to select all the paragraph elements which come after H1, then you can just replace this with this tag. And if you go back here, we see the color for all the paragraph tags. Zoom in karta hu just to look at what the symbol is. This is the symbol. Okay, guys. Do we have any more combinators? Yeah. These are all the combinators we have, and this is all I have for today. So we'll meet tomorrow, guys. But do you have any questions for me? Okay, no questions. Then we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye bye. Good night. Take care.
Hello, sir.
Go on, Pranjal.
Sir, can you provide us some assignment to practice?
Assignment chahiye kya? Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll start with something very simple. Okay, so Wikipedia may just open whatever page you like, and I want you to like design a website which will be like this, okay? But don't don't create the sidebar. ये मत create करो अभी. You can just create everything else, like like create a header and then add a line यहाँ पर, add some italic size यहाँ पर, add all of this text, and ये भी मत create करना. Add some text like this, add some text here. Okay. Just create a simple version of a Wikipedia page that you like, whatever page you like. Done?
Okay, sir.
Okay, man. Cool. So if there's nothing else, we'll meet tomorrow. Good night, guys. Bye bye. Take care.